my buddy Rowan. His zipper is undone. Oops. And I'm gonna make a video with him today. It's the 12th of January, and I am a year and a week on testosterone. He's gonna plug in music, and then he's gonna come over here, and we're gonna talk about it. So while I wait,
will you hand me?
I'm gonna hand what?
Hand me Gatekeeping Secrets.
Okay, 1 second. There we go. And we're gonna talk about, you know, basically just how long we've been friends and his coming out story and stuff like that. I thought it'd be interesting to kind of bring on a friend and have him talk about his experience. I thought that would be pretty cool. Mostly because like nothing new's happening with me. I mean, I did a video a couple weeks ago, and I am a year on T, but since my last video until my 1 year mark, literally nothing has changed. So I thought maybe I'll take the light off me for a minute. But looks like he's taking his sweet time over there.
This isn't hard. Okay.
But not too loud. Then, yeah, so that'd be cool. I'm wearing an awesome Red Fang t-shirt. If you don't know who they are, you should listen to them because they're awesome. You done?
I think so.
Okay, you should come over here.
I don't know how loud it's gonna be.
It's fine. We'll adjust it later. Alright, come on. Pretend it's a person, not a camera.
What up?
That's awesome. Okay. Introduce yourself. You can do it.
Hey. I'm Rowan.
How old are you, Rowan?
23.
How long have you been on testosterone?
9 months.
Almost 10 months?
No.
What?
I just hit 9 months.
When?
Today.
Really?
Wait, what day is it today?
The 12th.
2 days.
2 days?
2 more days.
In 2 days, 9 months. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty good.
How long have we known each other?
Math.
It's been a long time.
7 years?
7 years? Yeah. So what's cool about Rowan and me is that a long time ago, we dated.
Aww.
That was like way before we knew that we were trans, and then we stopped talking, and I like stumbled across his Tumblr, and I noticed that he was like struggling with his gender, and like reached out to him, and then we talked for like well, I mean basically like the first time in like 2 years, like 9 months ago.
Yeah.
9-10 months ago.
I guess it was about a year ago now, because it took me a few months to get on T.
Okay, so you should talk about that. You should talk about like. Well, first I have a question for you, because I've noticed that like I don't struggle with this because I'm not small, like short. You know, I'm pretty average height. I think average. But you're fairly short. How tall are you?
I'm about 5'4", but I did grow since starting T. So I think when I started, I was just under 5'3".
And how does that like affect you? Because like I've seen a lot of, like I've heard and talked to a lot of guys that are like really, I don't know, they struggle with their height and like it's really causes a lot of dysphoria. Does that affect you?
I mean, no, not. I'm okay with it. I've had a long time to get used to it. I guess I've known a lot of badass dudes who are my height.
I mean, I agree. I mean, I know like you can't tell like what one person should be dysphoric about, you know, versus another thing, but it just seems like a lot of trans guys I see are always really worried about like how big they are and how tall they are, and I understand that, but like I have so many cisgender friends who are like super short for cis dudes, you know what I mean? Like, and I just think it's cool because you're really tiny, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I thought that it'd be cool
We but mighty.
Yeah, exactly. You wrote something down though. What did you write?
Oh, so we kind of talked about this a few weeks ago. How I was going through a breakup because that's never fun. But basically, it boiled down to I was frustrated with a lot of things because I thought that beginning testosterone and figuring this out about myself was going to just make any personal issue I had go away, but that's not how it works, and I think that happens to a lot of guys, and we don't really talk about that.
Like testosterone doesn't fix everything.
Yeah, I mean, like, it helps. It helps you figure out what you need to figure out, but, like, you still have to work for it. Just, becoming more male-bodied doesn't make that go away.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because like coming up on a year or being a year on T, like that's a huge milestone for most trans people, I think. And I think one thing that I've learned is just that even though testosterone literally like saved my life, it doesn't make everything better. Not to discourage people, but it like makes certain part like dysphoria worse, and then other parts a lot better. Um, but going in, like I thought that it was like kind of like it would fix everything, and I wouldn't ever feel dysphoria ever again, and that was ignorant. But you were talking. We were hanging out like a couple weeks ago or like last week or something, and you were saying like the longer you were on T, the more dysphoric you became about like your chest, whereas before you weren't really that dysphoric about it because you could bind. So what do you elaborate?
Uh, I think, in the beginning stages of T, when you are being misgendered 99% of the time because, it's just the nature of being on the very early stages of T, it's like, this doesn't really look out of place when you look in the mirror, but the more male I look, the more out of place it looks and the worse it makes me feel, basically.
No, I completely agree because like I was kind of the same way. Um, dying. Like in the beginning, I had a really small chest, but the longer I was on T and like I started getting body hair, that like became like a huge problem for me. Whereas in the beginning, I was like, oh, I could just bind forever and it's fine. Let me tell you, for me, binding was the worst, and I didn't even notice how bad it was for like probably like 6 months. And then after that 6 month mark, I was like, I can't do it anymore. And that's what drove me to get top surgery. If it weren't for binding, like if the binding wasn't as painful, I probably could have gone a lot longer. But that's what I mean by like testosterone isn't just it's not just gonna fix everything. And it took me a year pretty much to kind of like understand that because you know I still have so much changing and growing to do, and from where I started to where I am now, it's vastly different. But you know, I think it's interesting and it's important to like talk about the fact that just because you're changing and you're on testosterone doesn't mean that everything's going to be okay all the time. It does make things a lot better. I'm not trying to be like negative Nancy over here, but things are going to change, and I just think that it would to be aware of the fact that like your your dysphoria is going to change and it's going to get better and it's going to get worse in different areas, and not to expect testosterone to fix all your problems. A lot of the problems that I am going through and have gone through, testosterone wouldn't fix anyway because it was more of just like a confidence thing or like a mental thing, and if I only relied on testosterone to get me through, I think I'd be really kind of like disappointed. And also another thing, everyone is different, and definitely like don't compare yourself to other people because like now this might sound this is okay. I don't mean this like mean, but like even like the difference in like facial hair, right? Like we're completely like you're 9 months, and you're always going to be a little jealous of another guy or feel happy, you know, like that. And I just think like not comparing yourself to other people, because like there are some trans guys out there that like I'm really jealous of, and then I stop and I go, but like I shouldn't be jealous, you know, like because I'm gonna get there eventually, or my body's different, and that doesn't make it bad. It, you know, and I don't know, all the changing is good, and you shouldn't be jealous. Just be happy. And I guess the point of this video was kind of like let him talk because I take over and I talk. Um, but just like to be, I guess just what I've learned is, or what I'm learning, I guess I should say, is to one, not compare myself, and to just continuously grow from where I started. And also I wanted to like show off my friend because he's awesome.
Oh, you.
Ah.
On the topic of that, I'm not even talking about like dysphoria exactly, but I think okay, personal example here. Dating a girl, and I it started off good, but I started having a lot of the same relationship patterns that I had when I identified as female, and you know,
What do you mean?
um, there's just it's really hard to explain. I'm kind of a pushover, and I thought that I felt much more confident being on TV. I thought that maybe I had grown out of being, you know, that kind of person, and it's not true. I ran into a lot of the same problems that I thought had gone or would go away, just like on my interpersonal relationships.
No, I agree. Like one thing that I was convinced that testosterone would fix was like my anxiety. And it's helped a lot because now I'm not like just this ball of dysphoria that I can't identify. But my tendencies are still there. And I just think that's interesting because I went into it thinking I was going to come out a completely different person. And while I am a completely different person, I'm also not at the same time. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's weird because it's like if I could see my old self walking down the street, I wouldn't recognize that person. But there's still like, I mean, it's still me. There's like the deepest parts of me are still the same, and that's just something that medically transitioning isn't going to fix.
I don't know. Maybe some people find that comforting now.
Not me.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. In a way, it kind of is because it's, you know. But I guess the point is that hormones aren't going to. It's not a fix all.
No,
You still have to work.
Yeah, and I think that's really important too, because like you'll never be where you want to be if you don't give it your all. You know, you can't just rely on the hormones because a lot of us struggle with more. I think a lot of, like, one of my older videos, I mentioned that trans people generally are very anxious people. Like, I've met a lot of trans people that suffer from anxiety and depression and various mental illnesses, and while hormones helped me a little bit with my mental stability, I still have had to work separately from transitioning in order to get better. It's more than just medically transitioning. Like, my transition is more than medical. It's a complete transition separately from a medical transition.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to remember not to pour like all of yourself and all of your hopes into like this one thing is going to fix everything, and you actually have to separate and take care of yourself like separately because this is one thing, and that's, yes, it's you. You're taking care of yourself, but you're taking care of an aspect that can't be taken care of when you're dealing with like mental health issues or.
Right.
And while that does ease a lot of problems, and you know, dysphoria exacerbates them for sure. just basically self-improvement doesn't end with hormones. It doesn't end with top surgery. It doesn't end with coming out.
Yeah. But it does make it easier too, and I think that's something that should be mentioned.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because like with the hormones and changing and you know, all of that, like I gained the confidence in order to like face my fears or to do something I was scared to do before, or you know, like become a whole person. I think. Yeah, I don't know. I thought that would be interesting to talk about and to share, you know, to kind of talk with a friend who's also going through that as well. And we've known each other for a really long time. So I thought that'd be cool. I didn't want to just do like this is my year on T, and which is important, it is. But one, I suck at editing videos, so I didn't know how to cut things together. And two, I also wanted to like show you that I have friends and and stuff like that.
You have friends.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for watching this 20-minute video almost. 16. Okay, 16.
Holy Christ.
I know. We talk a lot. And maybe he'll be back and we'll talk about something better. Or maybe he'll have his own YouTube.
Maybe. I'm kind of antisocial.
You can hang out with me.
Yeah, but you're just, you know, there's one person in my room. I'm not talking. It's your thing.
Instead of all of YouTube.
All of you guys.
Okay, guys. Thanks for watching. See you.